Film opens with an underground fighting ring in a small Montana town, where Frankie seeks out Carter, a renowned fighter, to hire him as a bouncer for her beachside bar in Glassy City. Carter, initially confident in his abilities, becomes fearful when confronted by Dalton, opting to leave rather than face him and earning accusations of cowardice. Following a confrontation where Dalton is attacked by Lewis due to a bet gone wrong, Frankie witnesses Dalton attempting to tend to his wounds and offers him a job as a bouncer at her bar, Roadhouse. She promises a substantial weekly payment to tackle the ongoing trouble caused by unruly patrons, having failed to receive assistance from the local authorities. However, Dalton refuses Frankie's offer to work with her and suggests she finds someone else. Undeterred, Frankie writes down her bar's address and says she'll wait if he changes his mind. Shortly after, while listening to a radio show about a UFC fight, Dalton drives until he gets to a railroad crossing. Instead of waiting, he feels an urge to do the unthinkable by parking his car in the path of an oncoming train. After surviving, Dalton decides to go to Frankie's place. At the bus stop, Dalton meets Charlie, a young woman who works at her father Stephen's bookstore. Charlie asks Dalton what brought him to this small town, and he replies to work at Roadhouse. After arriving at Roadhouse, Dalton meets Laura, the bartender, and Billy, a waiter who happens to recognize Dalton. Billy knows Dalton used to be a UFC fighter with a great reputation. Hearing this, Dalton feels proud that someone still remembers him. As darkness descends, Dalton relishes in the vibrant ambience and the resonating melodies filling the air. Suddenly, a troupe of troublemakers storms into the bar, revealed to be the source of recent disturbances at Frankie's establishment. Led by Dell, the unruly group disrupts the peace, vandalizing property and harassing the female staff. Witnessing the chaos, Billy attempts to intervene, but Dalton, recognizing the gravity of the situation, takes charge, directing Billy to manage other patrons. Approaching Dell, Dalton proposes a private conversation outside, yet Dell hesitates, reveling in the chaos he's created. Despite initial resistance, they eventually step out, though Dell's animosity towards Dalton intensifies, particularly when urged to depart. Dalton's request is met with derision from Dell, escalating tension between them. However, Dalton easily overpowers them without getting hurt himself. Instead of fighting back, he decides to take them to the hospital because some of their bones are broken and they're badly bruised. At the hospital, Dalton meets a doctor named Ellie, who isn't happy about the chaos caused by their silly fight. After coming back from the hospital, Frankie meets Dalton and pays him his weekly wage as agreed. On a boat, Emo and Snap face their boss Ben. At that moment, Ben asks about their progress in terrorizing the residents of Glass Key, as he heard they were defeated by a barkeeper. Ben also asks about Dell's whereabouts since he's not present. Emo explains that Dell is still in the hospital after the fight. This news upsets Ben even more. Dalton teaches Billy some basic fighting techniques to manage the crowd. He advises Billy to stay calm and not be afraid, instructing him to step back, duck, and then deliver a quick punch if needed. From then on, Billy gradually takes on Dalton's role as a security guard at Roadhouse alongside his friend Reef. While having breakfast at a cafe, he coincidentally encounters Ellie. She advises him to be cautious as getting on the wrong side of someone could lead to serious trouble, and the police aren't as helpful as they should be. As Dalton walks home over a bridge, suddenly Dell's car tries to hit him. Despite the attempt, Dalton survives and returns to the boat where he's staying. However, he's shocked to find Dell already there, armed with a rifle and intent on killing him. Dell is angry that Dalton interfered with his plans and hopes they won't cross paths again. During the fight, Dell falls into the sea, but soon after, the rumored alligator appears and eats Dell's body. Upon his return from Charlie's, Dalton is accosted by Ben's henchmen outside. Sam, among them, delivers Ben's message summoning Dalton for a meeting. With an implicit threat of coercion, Sam insists on Dalton's compliance, warning of forceful action if he refuses. Dalton, standing firm, suggests that if Ben wishes to converse, he should do so at Roadhouse, Dalton's place of employment. Shortly thereafter, Frankie is taken aback by Dalton's presence in her room and inquires about his well-being following the previous night's events. While relieved to learn of Dell's demise, Frankie's focus shifts to Dalton's concerns regarding Dell's persistent troublemaking at Roadhouse. A hitman named Knox receives a call from an inmate at a Ford Correctional Facility seeking his help with a problem caused by his son's actions. Meanwhile, Ellie meets Dalton on the boat where he stays and invites him to a secluded spot using a boat she knows from her ex-boyfriend. They spend the afternoon together on a submerged island, enjoying each other's company. However, she cautions him of being a powerful figure from a respected family in Florida who built much of the city. This alarms Dalton, and he asks Ellie to take him back to the dock, especially since she doesn't know who he truly is. Ellie then reveals that she knows Dalton's true identity and what has happened to him. She even thought what they were doing was a date. After a long journey, Knox arrives at Ben's residence. Ben questions him because of the disturbance he caused, especially when they found their motorcycles damaged by his car. Shortly after, Ben arrives and meets Knox, who unexpectedly punches him and declares he's there on his father's orders. Ben's father instructed him to clean up the mess caused by Ben, even though his father is in prison. Dalton, returning from a picnic, is confronted by two police officers and Sheriff Tom L.M. regarding Dell's death. Tom, asserting his authority, warns Dalton to comply peacefully or face arrest. When Dalton resists, Tom becomes physically aggressive. However, Ellie, suspicious of her father's actions, intervenes, revealing Tom's connection to Gerald, a criminal figure in Glass Key. She urges Dalton to leave the area to avoid further trouble. Vince and Sam plan to destroy Sten's bookstore, while Ben tries to bribe Dalton to leave town by showing him a deleted YouTube video of Dalton's last UFC fight, which ended in a horrific incident involving his close friend. Despite Dalton stopping trouble caused by Knox at Roadhouse, he feels powerless to make a significant impact there anymore. After that, he decided to quit his job there and leave town, despite Frankie calling him a coward for being scared of those people. As Dalton reached the bus stop, he witnessed Steven's store burning down by Vince. He asked the firefighter about Charlie and her father's whereabouts, learning they were taken to the hospital by ambulance. Seeing this, Dalton resolved to stay in town and take down Ben and his henchmen. Dalton then arrived at Ben's place and found Vince cleaning up. Dalton revealed to Vince that he had intended to leave and avoid dealing with their group again. However, their actions towards Charlie compelled him to return and confront them. Suddenly, Dalton delivers a single blow to Vince's throat, causing him unable to breathe. Just as Dalton was about to leave, he unexpectedly encountered Mo and asked about Ben's whereabouts. Mo, visibly scared, revealed that Ben was scheduled to have a meeting at Harvest Key. The scene then showing Dalton's final fight in the UFC arena. At that moment, Dalton competed against his best friend for the prestigious heavyweight championship. However, overcome by emotions, he lost control and accidentally caused his friend's death in the arena. In the present, Dalton was on the coast monitoring the transfer of a significant amount of money to the bank. He devised a plan to intercept the money and disable the police responsible for delivering it to Ben. Back on his boat, Dalton prepared a bomb as part of his scheme. Shortly after, Tom approached him urging him to return the money to Ben. Tom revealed that Ellie was now being held hostage, and they threatened to harm her if the money wasn't returned immediately. At that moment, Tom pleaded with Dalton to assist him in retrieving the money before noon, emphasizing the importance of his daughter's safety. Moved by Tom's plea, Dalton agreed to help and vowed to deliver the money to Ben himself. After forcibly bringing Ellie's ex-boyfriend's boat, Dalton immediately headed to Ben's boat out in the middle of the ocean. Before disembarking, he activated the bomb he had prepared. Upon arrival, Dalton encountered Ben and Tom, who appeared calm despite Ellie supposedly being held captive. Tom revealed that Ellie's kidnapping was a ploy to lure Dalton there. However, Tom was furious upon learning that Ben had actually kidnapped Ellie without his knowledge, questioning why his daughter was dragged into the situation. Suddenly, Knox caught up with them on a stolen boat. Seizing the opportunity, Dalton detonated his bomb, causing a massive explosion. Amidst the chaos, Dalton searched for Ellie trapped inside the boat. After freeing her, Ellie boarded a ship where Ben was waiting. At that moment, Ben subdued her and took her away while Knox pursued Dalton, trying to kill him. Despite Knox's efforts, Dalton managed to seize the boat's rope and attempted to throw Knox off the boat. Dalton then rammed the boat, causing Knox to leap onto Ben's boat and plunge into the sea. Knox survived and tried to reach shore, heading towards Roadhouse. In a dramatic turn of events, Dalton narrowly dodges a harpoon shot from Ben and confronts him, only for their clash to escalate when Knox arrives, causing chaos with the stolen car. Dalton and Knox engage in a brutal fight, resulting in Dalton being stabbed in the stomach. Ben orders Knox to finish Dalton, but Knox turns on him instead, killing him. Despite his injuries, Dalton defeats Knox and receives assistance from Tom, who promises to cover for him. In the end, Dalton decides to leave town, symbolizing that sometimes it's wiser to avoid confrontation, but when forced into it, be prepared to fight back fiercely.